I'm Jeremy Henderson.
And I'm Wendy Henderson. And we just got back from Gen Con.
Just as right. Literally like yesterday evening.
Yeah, we've been home for about 24 hours now. Still trying to catch up on rest and trying to be a little less overstimulated.
Yeah. It was our first trip to Gen Con.
That's right.
For either one of us. We've been to conventions before. PAX,
Dragon
Con back in the day. Honestly, Dragon Con is the closest thing I can compare it to. PAX, despite being huge, if you've ever been, I think it's actually a fraction of the size of Gen Con.
It would have to be.
And even Dragon Con, as big as it is, and it is very big, I don't know, Gen Con might be bigger. It's overwhelming.
Yes, and it's dedicated solely to board games too, which is really rad. So we have not been to PAX Unplugged, we've been to actual PAX East, and so, you know, you've got the video game content there, you've got a little bit of tabletop, but they saved the good for PAX Unplugged. And then Dragon Con is really, really, really big, but I think it's about half the size of Gen Con.
I mean, I would believe it. But I mean, we're going to go through our impressions, what we saw there, what we did there, while it's fresh in our minds,
right?
Because it was a lot.
There was definitely a lot to take in. Like, I'm glad that we had 4 days. Really, if we only had 1 day, especially with it being our first time, and there just was a lot of stuff that we took away to remember to do next year.
Yeah.
To better prepare.
And I'll say, I guess, advice for people considering going next year. Based on advice given to me by some other people, I tried to keep our schedule relatively light.
Yeah.
There are literally probably 15,000 maybe events.
I believe it. I believe it.
At Gen Con. And that's not, that's not me like exaggerating. Like I counted on the event search thing, and it's probably somewhere around 15,000. Everything from scheduled games of different games, play tests to actual seminars, several of which we sat through.
Right.
But even with me trying to keep that kind of light, it's still. I honestly think you kind of need to pick, if you're going to go to any of the seminars or scheduled event stuff, you kind of need to pick your 2 or 3 that you really want to go see and plug those in, and then everything else just catch can, because it's and maybe now that we know our way around a little better, we'll be a little more efficient in future years, but
we'll see.
Yeah, but it's a lot. It's more than you can possibly do. So know that going in for sure.
Yeah. But all of that said, it was amazing. It was absolutely like Christmas for 4 straight days.
Yeah.
Loved it.
The expo hall floor is pretty incredible. I think literally every game manufacturer, like
big and small,
just about, has a presence there somewhere. Huge booths down to little booths. There is so much to see and do just in the expo hall floor.
Yeah, and then they had adjacent to it a whole room dedicated just with long tables set up for game demos, for game playing. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but we played a little Arkham horror in there. And then they also had Lucas Oil Stadium just like taken over with tables set up down the field with folks demoing games in there. I mean, just like, it was neat to get to see games that were up and coming or stuff that I had only seen on social that hasn't made its way into our local game store yet. So Jeremy, what was your like favorite part, or like top favorite parts? Because I think it might be hard to pick just one.
Sure. We talked about this a little bit. So, and we'll talk about this some more. We got to play Frosthaven, which was Valhalla for us. But that seems almost unfair to pick that one. So I think this is non-specific, but honestly, so I mean, I'm a video gamer from the time I was old enough to pick up a controller.
Yes,
right?
Literally since NES.
So I know all about that world. I can tell you every game company, what their big games are, what the new ones coming out are. I could tell you that a little bit about board games, but nowhere near with as much specificity. And walking around the floor and seeing all of the different companies represented there, I feel like I have a better, not a complete by any means, but a better understanding of like who the big game manufacturers are and what they've got coming out now than I did before.
Sure.
So
and
I think
also some like small game manufacturers that are small but make games that we love.
Yeah.
So there were some board game manufacturers just because we love every single one of their games that I thought they were like as big as like Hasbro. And learned that they just make the games we love, and just focus in on making those great. So seeing the big ones and the small ones all in one place.
Yeah. Hasbro was there.
We didn't go see them.
Well, you had to see them because they had a giant. I guess they have a new edition of House on the Hill. Not the House on the Hill. Why am I getting this wrong?
The haunted
Betrayal at House on the Hill. Yes. They have a new edition of that coming out.
And it was everywhere.
Yeah, they had giant signs up. And you could spot their people because they were walking around in all black. They looked like cops. But we didn't spend much time in that booth. Also, I see Wayne's on here. Hey, Wayne. Yes, we did have a great time. We're exhausted, but we had a great time.
Right.
But yeah, so we do have a haul that we're going to go into here in a minute. But we did kind of want to talk through just sort of what we saw, what we did while we were there first. So,
so for me, like, my favorite also was playing Frosthaven, and not only like playing Frosthaven, but actually like getting eyes on it and getting to put my hands on it was also just really kind of neat. Because there's such a difference between seeing it online, on Reddit, or in the updates that I see on Kickstarter, but it was very different seeing it like with my own eyes and like being able to touch it and like just being. You would walk near the Cephalofair booth and like there was just a whole vibe of like everybody was there and everybody was excited and everybody was like, yeah man, look, there's Frosthaven. Look at those terrains. Look at that board. Like, a whole lot of really neat stuff. So, like, but, I mean, I agree with Jeremy that it's not fair to compare it to other stuff because it was just, like, so next level. But, like, we got to do this whole next level thing. And it just, like, reinvigorated our excitement about the Kickstarter fulfilling now, you know? And then also, like, right there with it was getting to play Arkham Horror. And we got to play Arkham Horror with the game developers, the actual designer of the scenario that we played. I went up to him afterwards. It was just like, on like such a high and like such a game rush. It was just like, you want to just like grab him and hug him and just be like, that was amazing. But you know, I respected space and boundaries. But getting to play Arkham Horror with, you know, strangers, because I sat down to play with two men I did not know. Jeremy sat there with us for a little while. He had something else he had to go handle in the middle of it, so he didn't play. But, like, I'm so used to playing it with y'all, with you and Daniel. Mm-hmm. And so getting to play with these two other men, and then not only was I playing with them, but we were playing with 2 other groups of 4, and so like each of us had our own scenarios that we were working on, but we had to work in tandem together, and it just was like we walked away from it, and I was just like, Jeremy was amazing. And Jeremy was like, okay, it was like that, and that was the last thing that we did at Gen Con, and like for me in particular, like I feel like we just went out on top. Like it was so dope seeing that.
Yeah.
We also sat in on a podcast with Dice Tower, and that was really neat to see. Like Jeremy follows their stuff a lot more closely than I do. And really enjoys it. That was, not my first exposure to them, to that gang, but one of my first, and it was like really neat to see them, how they all interacted together and how they put their pod together.
Yeah, and they were on the floor, which kind of surprised me. Well, I mean, it did surprise me they were on the floor. It surprised me that they were in their booth, running their booth. Like, if you went over there and bought some merch from them, it was one of the Dice Tower guys that you would recognize. Like, you would be buying a stuffed dice plushie from Tom Vassell or D. Garcia or one of these guys that you see reviewing games all the time, just standing there ringing you up. So that was just a little surreal. But we should also say the Arkham scenario you played was I believe it was called Machinations Through Space and Time.
Yeah.
Which I gather is a rather new one. And it has and I think this is something they're doing more now. It has a massively multiplayer mode, which is what Wendy was playing in. So it was a scenario that was split across different time periods.
Yeah.
Wendy and the guy she was playing with, shout out to Daniel and his dad. Ironically, the designer of the scenario was named Jeremy, and the guy Wendy was playing with was named Daniel.
Daniel and his dad have a place at our table anytime they want one. And I hate the fact that, like, we didn't introduce, like, ourselves with names because we were just too excited to start with, but we had our name badges on, and so you could see mine. And so they started just, like, picking up, like, Wendy, Wendy, Wendy. Same thing with Daniel. I could see his. I could not see Daniel's dad's, and so I never got his name. And I was, like, actively looking. I was like, but it was, like, tucked under the table, and so so Daniel just kept calling him Dad, and I think I called him Dad a couple times, and then, like, it was just like, hey, you. But I really regret, like, not learning his name, because playing with those two guys was awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, even though I was only watching it, it was really cool how y'all were set. They were a group of investigators in the past.
Right.
Then you had another group of investigators in the present, and another group in the future. It was very Back to the Future. Y'all were trying to get 2 scientists to fall in love and marry and found a company, and
that's right.
Nikola Tesla was there.
Nikola Tesla was there.
Yes.
But it was neat because things that we did in our scenario had impacts on what the others were doing, and vice versa. So there was people running back and forth between the groups, like talking, and then the table behind us, instead of, like, whereas our group was getting up and actually, like, physically walking back and forth, because you're at, like, that table was probably 30 feet long. And we were on one end, and another team was on the other end. The other team were just yelling at each other the whole time.
Yeah.
And we were playing the same thing, so there were things you had to, like, announce or, like, say to other teams, and so, like, you would hear another team shout it would just be like, okay, was that us? No, okay. It was so rad.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you can buy that scenario and play it as a regular Arkham scenario with 4 people.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as fun.
No.
Yeah.
Now that I know that you could play it with 12, I wouldn't want to play it with y'all. Like, no offense. Like, I would want to play it with y'all and, like, 9 of our closest friends.
And I feel bad saying that, because I feel like that discourages people from buying this amazing thing that they designed. But
if we didn't know what it could be, I think we wouldn't know what we were missing.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, seeing things like the future team sending a seed back for y'all to plant so that a tree would grow in the future scenarios. I mean, that's a pretty mild spoiler. But I mean, that's an example of the kind of stuff that they were able to pull off with that many people. Which is really cool, and I had no idea that Arkham even had that kind of stuff.
I didn't know either.
So.
I can't imagine sitting down trying to design something like that. And I'll say this, like, I didn't look at the instructions for just like a normal single team, but if there's one thing that we've learned, and that is in Fantasy Flight we trust. So I think it would be fine. I think it would be fun, even if you were just playing it as single, because we have yet to do something of theirs where we're just like, this sucks.
I did look at the instructions for single because I had time to sit there and read them. But...
Well, because the instructions came in the form of a book.
Yes.
Like normally it comes in like a little double-sided sheet of paper.
And you're right. Yeah, it looked fine. It looked like it would work just fine in a group of 4. It just wouldn't. It just doesn't have that same neatness that having all those people in different groups has. So
yeah.
But that I mean that was amazing. I mean to take it back, we might as well talk about the elephant in the room. Frosthaven, getting to play that was amazing. They had 3D printed terrain. We didn't get to play on the 3D printed terrain. I'm a little jealous that we didn't, but they had 3 different games going on 3 tables. We got to play with another couple from
Virginia.
Okay.
And a local game master who was driving it for us.
Yeah.
Who was just really knowledgeable. And like we haven't played Gloomhaven in I think we stopped playing Jaws about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell y'all, it was like riding a bike.
Yeah.
We went through the first round and then it was just kind of like rusty and everything was just moving kind of slow and kind of jerking, and then like by like the end of the second round, man, we were like a train, just like going.
And I'll say I think we're gonna have some more in-depth thoughts about this that we write up later because
for sure.
I played the Geminate, which is one of the new starting classes. Wendy played the Deathwalker.
Sounds right.
Okay. And the Geminate was neat in that it switched forms. It would go from melee to ranged, and you had 2 different decks depending on which form you were in, which took a minute to wrap my brain around.
Sure.
But the cool thing is they let us keep and looking at it in retrospect now, I think this might have been a COVID precaution to some degree. But they let you keep the deck that you played with.
I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense. Well, I'm not complaining about it because I'm sleeping with them under my pillow right now.
Yeah. So we have those decks, and we're going to take a look at them and maybe do a breakdown of those later. But
did you see the Germinate doll that was on like the outside of their booth?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So there was this 2-headed hooded doll on the outside of their booth, and I was like, someone has left this grody thing over here in Frosthaven land, and I'm surprised no one has like taken it away and put it in the trash yet. And then Jeremy played his character, and I was like, oh, that's that creepy doll that's over there. I literally thought someone had just placed it.
Yeah, I didn't think about the fact that you're not the one who has been getting Kickstarter updates, so you wouldn't know what that thing was.
No, I Google, like once a month, like Frosthaven Kickstarter updates, and like just go to the link and look and see like how they're communicating it, or just like hop on the threads on Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, and another highlight, I met my favorite TikTokers. The Dungeon Bros. Anybody on here who's just looking for some like easy breezy, great Dungeons and Dragons content with like a little bit of humor in with it. That's really a TikTok account to check out. And like, I saw a lot of people from social media that I know from social media, not in real life. Not trying to get parasocial here, but like they were the ones that when I saw it was like, oh my god, and like had to get my picture taken with them and like all of that. But like there were other people that like I recognized from like Board Game Space who would like go by and I would like point to him to Jeremy and be like, that's Professor Meg, or that's Running Board Gamer. Or that's some random guy from TikTok that I know because he's a lawyer. Had no idea he was into board games. But like those guys, I acted like a weird fangirl, and they were so cool about it. So that also was and that happened like right after we played Frosthaven, or I would have said it was like the highlight of Friday. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, maybe we should talk about, before we go through the stuff we don't have on here. There was a lot of fuss about Catherine, if you guys have heard about that one, playing as Catherine the Great. We didn't get to see that because it hadn't arrived yet, hadn't got off the boat. Apparently, I saw a tweet from, what is that? Which company is that? It's the one behind Ark Nova. Sorry, folks.
Asked me, I could have told you.
I saw a tweet from them that literally less than 24 hours after the show ended, their copies showed up.
That's right.
I'm sure they're feeling great about that. We did see Cat in the Box. Another really interesting game that we didn't get our hands on.
Can we talk about their booth though?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Jeremy about this earlier because like Jeremy in his like 9-to-5 life is a marketing agency owner. So like this kind of stuff, like I know that he takes notice of it. I know that like he like notes. I don't work anywhere near anything creative, and so when I see something where I'm like, that is marketing at its finest, I get really excited about it. And I was like just word vomiting all over Jeremy about this earlier. They had, so for the game Cat in a Box, they had like a scratch tree. Is that what that is called?
Yeah, scratching post?
Scratching post, but not just like the stick. It was like big and went around. Yeah. And then it had a big, like probably the size of this box right here, copy of the box lid flipped over and then like stuffed cats in it. And so you had a cat in a box. Mm-hmm. And to me it was the most brilliant. It was simple. It didn't have to be real flashy, didn't have to be in your face. But absolutely brilliant because like I was telling him, I've never owned a cat. I'm not really a cat person. I actively try to avoid them if I can. But even I know that like if there's a box, like, the cat's gonna crawl into it. And it was just so smart.
Yeah.
So smart.
And the game itself sounds brilliant as well.
Yeah.
It actually sounds like it would give me a stress headache to some degree. It's a trick-taking game. The Cat in the Box. I know this is super nerd stuff. I don't care. It's referring to Schrodinger's cat. The famous quantum thought experiment is the cat in the box, dead or alive. You don't know until you observe it. Because it's a trick-taking game where the cards are colorless. So you play a card, and you get to decide what the lead suit is when you play it. You say this is red or yellow or blue or whatever, and then the other people have to react and follow that. So it's again, it sounds they have a mechanism for keeping track of this stuff
Good.
on the table. Even with that, it seems a little difficult to keep track of to me. Yeah. But it's super popular. Obviously, they sold out quickly. And apparently it's hard to get your hands on one these days. But if you can, it sounds like it is worth the effort.
And the first time that Jeremy was describing this game to me, I was like, because I hear Cat in the Box, I think I automatically, just by the name alone, assume it's a drinking game. And so I had in my mind that it was like a party game, or just like one of those light, easy breezy games. And he started describing it, and I was like, man, this is the worst drinking game I've ever heard of. But the game itself sounds really rad. And they have, or they had, at least when we were at their booth, inventory on their website that they were directing everybody to buy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and that was Bezier
Games.
Bezier Games.
Something like that. I also saw briefly, this was when you were playing Arkham, Fit to Print, the new game from Flat Out. You all will recognize them from such games as Cascadia and Calico.
I don't think I've ever heard of these games.
And the other really extremely popular tile placement games that have been coming out. This one also is kind of a tile placement game. It's got the cutesy woodland creature thing going on.
We like that.
You're running a newspaper in this forest full of creatures, and so you're taking turns drafting stories to put on your front page, and then you play a tile laying game to put your front page together. And then everybody releases their front page of the paper for that day and scores based on where the tiles are placed. So it's a very cute, neat little game. They also sold out, but it
That's
looks
dope.
nice. Yeah.
And when we were picking up Fall of the Mountain King, which we've got in this big stack right here, and we'll talk about it in a second, they had another game there called Plant Power. Mm-hmm. And it had the prettiest tiles I've ever seen. It had these like little hex tiles, and they were real bright, like made you think of flowers, like real like tropical flowers. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of thing.
We also missed out on, these disappeared real fast. These disappeared, I think, in the first day. We missed out on Planet Unknown. Which of course is making a huge splash right now. That is the Lazy Susan game. It literally has a rotating disc that you draft tiles off of. So
that's rad.
Yeah,
that's so rad.
It looks really neat. We tried to get that. That literally was day one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't even make it to the end of the first day before those were all gone.
Another thing that we missed out on, and it wasn't available for sale, it was just available for play. And I think that it just had, it kind of blew up a little bit during Gen Con, which, you know, you love to see. I really wanted a chance to play Hike It, the board game, and couldn't get signed up. I mean, I was like messaging the designers on Instagram, like, can I just play in the floor of the lobby? And so, like, I look forward to getting a chance to, like, play that one. Although it wasn't for sale, getting to play it, it's got I think a Kickstarter maybe coming up in the next couple months. But it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yeah. And it's set in Tennessee, so you know it's got a place in my heart.
And it made a huge splash, apparently.
Yeah.
People were lining up to get a chance to get their hands on it, including the Dice Tower folks. So.
Yeah.
Way to go for them.
And I was willing to elbow people out of my way to get us signed up to play Frosthaven. But I was not willing to elbow people out of the way to play Hike It. It just is like such a happy seeming game. I didn't want to like be like, I'm on my way to play a happy game. You know, you can't just like when you're going to play Frosthaven, like people get that, but like I'm gonna go play this fun game set in nature. Get out of my way. Just doesn't really float that way.
Well, should we go through our haul here?
I would love to go through our haul here. Can I start with these first?
Sure.
Because I keep trying to play with them, but it's like noisy. And so, this is really small. This is the thing though that I was really excited about and didn't purposefully try to avoid the booth, until Jeremy was like, hey, I think we should go check this out. And I was like, say no more, fam. Here we go. We went to the booth for the Game Crafter. They sell board game components. So what I have here is 2 bags full of random components. I have a huge basket on the bookshelf behind Jeremy here that is full of game components. And we added a whole lot to that collection here. I mean, they were just selling it by the gram.
Yeah. It literally looked like a candy store. They had the big plastic bins with the little scoops, and you just filled up bags.
For us, when we are talking through games that we're designing or games that may have potential, it's not uncommon for us to just grab that basket of components and just like toss them out and just kind of feel them until we feel like what we're looking for. This empowered us to, add a lot to that, and not have to pay shipping, which was nice. But like all of these components are just like super good quality. Nothing really like spectacular or outstanding in here except maybe like the bread meeple, which I couldn't shove enough into the bag. Outside of that, kind of boring stuff, but as game designers, as folks that want to make game content for, the community, this kind of thing for us like really comes in handy. So I'm going to hand these to Jeremy. He can toss them down the table so I'm not tempted to play with them anymore because I want to play with it.
It's real great to have these because then we don't have to steal components out of existing games and maybe lose them forever. So
that's right, which we have done. I also used to have a little cup of components, and then that upgraded to like a bigger cup and then a basket of components that we had stolen out of other games that didn't get put back into the games when we put the game away. So having these on hand just really prevents that from having to happen as much. It still happens. Okay, so Jeremy, do you want to talk about what we've got on top here?
Yeah, Aldabas, one of the smaller games we got. This thing has a really, really unique theme. It is based on the developer's upbringing in Cartagena. Aldabas is Spanish for door knockers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it is set in Cartagena, obviously. Medieval period Colombia, I think. So the door knockers during whichever historical period we're talking about here, forgive me, denoted your class, your job, basically. So fishermen would have sea monsters as door knockers.
Okay.
Soldiers would have lion heads.
Who would have Black Panther? Because that's what I'm seeing on this.
That is a soldier.
I'm trying to put this up where you could see it. Absolutely gorgeous. The colors on this card are quite vibrant and beautiful.
Yeah, it's got some really beautiful artwork. Clergy had literal hands on their door knockers.
Some really neat tokens too.
Yeah, nobles, lizards, I think. So the point is, playing this, you're building a tableau in front of you out of these door knockers. You have a 4x3, I think, grid that you're laying them out in. You can't put the same color next to each other when you're laying them down. But each door knocker has a special power that triggers.
Oh, okay.
And it will trigger the special powers of the door knockers next to it when you lay it down. And so you're, in theory, trying to attract the most influential people to your neighborhood and have the best, fanciest door knockers.
I assume that the most influential person is whoever has this green owl, because I don't know if I can show this. I don't know if it will show up or not, but this guy right here, if you see that, oh my word, it's so beautiful. Anyway. Yeah,
it's a really unique theme for sure. I'm not aware of anything else that uses door knockers for their cards.
Yeah, smart.
This is, I guess, a special Kickstarter edition. It came with some extra jobs, so extra door knocker styles, and these wooden coins.
Okay.
Instead of the standard cardboard ones, but it's.
And this is it says 1 to 4 players for 30 minutes, 14 plus. So that's cool.
It's from Grand Gamers Guild. And I believe that we purchased this literally from the designer.
That's rad.
When we were standing there, yeah. So
that's really rad.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one on here is an Everdell expansion. It's Everdell Spirecrest, Collector's Edition. So Everdell had one of the dopest booths at Gen Con. They had an Evertree sitting in the middle of their booth. You could crawl into the Evertree. It had a little hole cut out of it, and you could take your picture on it. I didn't. There was usually a line.
You would have had to elbow more kids.
I only elbowed one kid, and I didn't hear you complaining when we were playing Frosthaven. I'm just saying. Kidding. But they had all of the Everdell expansions on there, as well as some other games, and they were a great price. And if it's left up to me, I'm like, let's buy all of them. But we settled on Spirecrest, so look for this to come to our table soon. Like, we love Everdell. It's stunning. The game is stunning. I've heard people complain about, and I don't understand, but I've heard people complain about the tree and how it doesn't really add value. I think it adds. I disagree with that hot take. I think it adds a lot of value, and like when you see, because like the board on that game is tremendous. I mean, it's so big. It's one of the biggest boards that we have. It's deceptively large. And so the fact that instead of making it even bigger, they just took it vertical, to me, that's brilliant. I don't care. Fight me. I think it's great.
Well, I'm certainly not going to fight you. I will say, though, while you were correct about the tree, they have done quite the opposite with these expansions, because each
it's
expansion...
just going to make it bigger?
Yes, just gets tacked onto the board to different sides. Yeah. To the point that, and I think they actually tell you not to play with all expansions at the same time.
Well, our table's not big enough.
But yes, I think it would literally fall off, and we don't have a small gaming table.
Our table's only 6 feet long. I don't think we have enough space for more Everdell expansions. But I am excited to see this one. I'm excited to see what creatures get added. I have no idea what's inside this box. So I might do an unboxing video when I open it. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
So I'm going to set this one over to the side. All right. So Jeremy, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah. Burnt Island Games. We stopped by their booth. They had a really popular game. We haven't played it. I still want to get a copy of it and try it at some point. But in the Hall of the Mountain King, where you were playing as ogres, actually, or trolls, I think, maybe.
You didn't tell me you were ogres.
Ogres or trolls. Either way.
Hopefully ogres.
You are...
Ogres and dwarves are... Those are the class... Those are my class of people.
You are... Regardless of whether you are ogres or trolls, you were driven out of your mountain kingdom by the evil gnomes. And in Hall of the Mountain King, you are reclaiming that kingdom back for yourself. This is a prequel wherein you are fighting to save as many people as possible as the gnomes are invading. And so you are trying to gain influence, fight the gnomes, and be the most famous troll warrior to lead your people after you are expelled from the mountain by the gnomes.
And we're going to do an unboxing of this later on tonight, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This was a Kickstarter project for them. I don't believe it's delivered yet. Or it is in the process of delivering, so this is something that not many people have their hands on yet.
Okay, so I'm sure there's people that want to see what's inside this big old box.
We will make a priority of seeing what's inside here, and I will learn how to play it so we can get it on the table quickly.
That's exciting. Can I show what's in this box right here?
Of course.
Okay, so I have this little box over to the side. I think of everything that we bought at Gen Con, I'm most excited about this, and it's something so small. It's something so small, but I was so jazzed, and this is not normally the kind of thing that I would get, but as far as I'm concerned, this is like my favorite souvenir from our trip, and that is a Gloomhaven. It's really hard to see on camera. It's a Gloomhaven pint glass. So it's a pint glass for the Sleeping Lion. And I got these for me and the boys for when Frosthaven gets here and we're playing. These glasses are only for Gloomhaven days. And I'm so excited for them. I really wish you could see this on camera. I'll make sure to get a picture on Instagram. We are elevation_games on Instagram. I'll make sure to get a picture on there tomorrow of these lovely glasses that I am so jazzed. So jazzed about.
The Cephalofair booth guys were definitely doing their jobs of, well, here, you don't have this, you need this. How about this thing?
They didn't have to sell me on the glasses.
No, they didn't.
Was a little sad that they only had the intro characters from Gloomhaven, and I understand that, like, those intro characters are the only, like, ones that are specified that people who haven't played the game yet have seen. My favorite character was the Plague Herald. I still dream of her. She was so amazing. And I would love to have a Plague Herald glass, but they only had the opening classes. And I'm going to start making an argument that there is a statute of limitations for Gloomhaven spoilers, because, like, we were late to the party when we played that game almost 3 years ago, so...
It did come out in 2017, I think.
Look, here's all I'm saying. Cephalofair, I love y'all. Y'all know this. Make me a Plague Herald cup. I will buy it, okay? And I will love it. But in the meantime, we will just drink out of our Sleeping Lion cups and be happy about it. Glasses.
Speaking of, should we look at the other Cephalofair stuff?
Yeah, let's look at this guy. You want to talk about what this is?
It's a puzzle.
It's a Gloomhaven puzzle.
It's literally the first scenario, supposedly, from Gloomhaven that's depicted on here. They had a bunch of them they were handing out with every purchase of, I don't even remember how much.
We weren't worried about that because we spent some money there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Tinker. I started out with Tinker. Mm-hmm. Who did you start out with? I assume they're on here somewhere.
Yeah, I think I started with the Mind Thief, didn't I?
Where's the Mind Thief on
right
here? Right here. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. God. How can I forget? That was your favorite character.
I really liked the Beastmaster, too, but...
Man, that Beastmaster.
Yeah. The Mind Thief was definitely up there, even though she was my first. Well,
you always remember your first. I really loved the Tinker playing her. I think it was a good fit. Man, now I just want to play Gloomhaven again. This is a 1,000-piece puzzle. I feel like it would be really pretty framed, assembled and framed.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
We also got the one-shot comic that they put together detailing the Mind Thief's backstory.
Yeah, we actually got 2 of these.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them will be a giveaway, and then one of them will be a keep for us.
Yeah, so these are the same comic, but it has alternate art for one.
Right.
That was a limited edition or something. Apparently, they're going to do these one shots for each of the starting characters.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yes.
That's really cool. So it tells the backstory of the Mind Thief. It just plugged some plot holes from the game, I think he said, for the Mind Thief, and how the Mind Thief joined the gang at the Sleeping Lion.
Yeah.
It's really dope.
Obviously we haven't read it yet, but
no, it's still wrapped in the plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to talk about this, or I'm going to talk about this?
I think you should talk about this.
Okay, so y'all know Spirit Island is my favorite game. I have never met anything Spirit Island related that I didn't immediately want to purchase. So we went to the Spirit Island booth. It took us 3 days to even find where they were selling stuff, because I was like, I'm here for all the upgrades. I had that big old like IKEA sized bag, and I was ready to just like shove it full of all of the Spirit Island greater than games swag I could get. Turns out we already own everything that they had for Cell Spirit Island related except for this and these mats that I'll show you in just a second. So this is a deluxe invader board. I think it cost $20, worth every penny if you ask me. So Spirit Island to me is a perfect game. I love it. I love destroying colonizers. I really like just like grabbing a random spirit and playing it. One thing that I really don't like about Spirit Island is the board where you keep track of everything game related. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to show you what this looks like. Again, not for the faint of heart table size, because this is so big. But let me show this to y'all. I'm just going to drop it on top of our sleeping dog here at my feet. Okay. Let's get this on the table. Let's just break this down for a second. So the number one thing I hate about the board on Spirit Island is that the bottom half of the board always like wants to flip up. And so this is so big, it lays flat. I promise, it doesn't look like it is laying flat on the stream. It's because there's a box underneath it. Amazing. Just like those little annoyances, just gets rid of it. But also, I think they do a much better use of using the real estate that used to just kind of be spread out in all of these weird ways. I really feel like they heard some feedback from people that play this game a lot and applied it to here. So, like, what you have is, this is for your major and your minor power deck. When we play, and like, again, this is a big old game. You've got, your map pieces, 1 map per person, and then you've got like the invader boards, and there's two invader boards or 3, I don't know, it's gigantic. And then we just have like minor power decks, and like we never really know where to put them. They're always out of reach for somebody. So now they go right here on the invader board, and then there's also space for the discards, which is really dope. Also, they've moved the island health from down here, like where it's taking up a lot of real estate that it doesn't necessarily need, and it's moved it up here, and then giving you a dedicated place to keep your blights instead of just stacking it up on top, which is cool. And then your fear deck is down here, and I think that's also really helpful. It's down here where you're keeping up with your like turn orders for the invaders. Mm-hmm. You've got your fear, and then ones you've earned while you're waiting to use it. So it just gives you a dedicated place to keep it, which is helpful, especially when you have like more than one. Because currently they're like on this side, and then they're like far down. I always get confused like what we can use and like what we can't use. And then like your event cards, which normally are like way at the top up here, out of reach. You've got your event cards down here, which is really rad. And then like up here, like you've got like your fear space, as always. And then we have a broken token organizer for Spirit Island, and like all of the like little like paw prints and the little snake. They sit in these like little cradles, and there's perfect space for them up here. So I really feel like it makes better use of this whole space, consolidates everything, and then like most importantly to me, it lays flat. And has given me something new for Spirit Island, because like I love this game and I would play the base forever if I had to, but like, you know, it's nice to get something new every now and again for your favorite game.
Well, and while this is huge, keep in mind it is consolidating literally everything except for the island board itself.
Yeah, I mean, on this one board that again lays flat.
Yeah.
That lays flat, and then like is completely irrelevant, but I got some Spirit Island branded sleeves for the cards, which matters not really at all. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing that we bought for Spirit Island. I am such a sucker. I will just buy these things and love them. These are foil these are foil spirits. I've got all the spirits on here. Like, I've got 4 different sets, and it has every single spirit that you get in the game. It's just a prettier version of your little spirit playing card. Some of these I will be keeping. The ones that go with our favorite.
Oh, these have multiple? I didn't.
Yeah,
I thought it was literally one spirit per thing.
I have every single spirit in these 4 packs. I have every single spirit, but I was like, it lists the spirits that are on there on the back of the package, and so I was reading, trying to like make sure that I was getting all of our favorites. And the lady that was working behind the counter was like, "Here, if you get all 4 of these, then you have all the spirits. You don't have to worry about it." And I just was like, take my money. So I think
this makes me feel a little bit better about that expenditure then, now that I know it's more than just 4 spirits.
Even if it was just 4 spirits, it was worth it because it made your wife happy. But I think these might make some really good giveaway items too.
Sure.
Just floating that out there.
One giveaway item we'll definitely be giving away also is a little...
Giving it away to me. Just kidding. A Gen Con specific collectible pin for Spirit Island.
I think that's the river spirit depicted there.
It is. The one that you're so good at playing.
Mm.
I can tell you his actual name. Her actual name. All the good spirits are hers.
It's like shimmers in sunlight or something.
Oh, I can't see it. Oh, wait. River surges in sunlight.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I have, like, my own names for everybody. Oh, man. Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. My absolute favorite. I sound like such a psycho.
No. We also got a new copy of Sushi Go that I think we're going to give away at some point. We need to get our copy back from Brandy.
We may just need to put this one in the game closet. I will say this. All the folks that were working in booths, volunteers and paid folks alike, they all were like super smart, super helpful, super just like on it. The folks in the Gamewright booth were by far like the most friendly and helpful people that I personally interacted with in a booth at Gloomhaven, which is saying a lot because again, like everybody was pretty rad. But they I was talking to them about like specifically what we were looking for, and they were like pulling stuff out from under the counters and like getting us what we needed, which was really neat.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gamewright.
Yes, we also got a copy of Go Nuts for Donuts.
Go Nuts for Donuts.
Keeping that food theme. And this one came with a couple of Gen Con exclusive cards.
That's cool. So this is for 2 to 6 players ages 8 and up. I didn't realize that this was a family game, which makes me even happier. I love a good old-fashioned family game. But it does have these exclusive cards. Mm-hmm. Is this for a giveaway or?
Yes.
Okay, so we at some point will be doing a giveaway with this as well, including the exclusive cards, the super rare,
the
ultra rare. We always laugh about that because one of our nieces would say that about everything. It's ultra rare. She has red hair. She will tell you that she is ultra rare, and I agree. Okay, so Jeremy, we have finally reached the bottom of our pile.
Yes. Bottom of the pile, but
top of our hearts.
Certainly the most substantial thing we picked up.
It had to be the bottom of the pile because I feel like it would have crushed all of the other games that we had on there. Let me just give you a little side view of what this box looks like. And it weighs... I'm going to go put it on a scale when we finish this stream because I'm curious how much this weighs.
Okay. And we'll do an unboxing of this one too because trust me, you want to see these components. They're incredible.
Trust me when I say you want to see these components.
This is my father's work. Also sold out, but then they got some more delivered, and we got in line to get a copy. This has been making some waves. Some of y'all probably recognize it. It's basically Frankenstein in a box.
Right.
You are playing not just a mad scientist, but several generations of mad scientists, continuing the work of your ancestors as you go through the game. It's very story-driven.
Love it. Love it.
Reminds me of Forgotten Waters. Has a little bit of a similar book play style, and a similar app that accompanies it as well, that sort of tells the story as you go through these generations. Yeah.
So we did an unboxing video. We filmed an unboxing video of this in our hotel room in Indiana, and it just looked like it was filmed in a hotel room in Indiana. You could hear the air conditioner going, or we would have posted an unboxing a couple days ago, but that's why the plastic and everything is already off of it.
Yeah.
But we will be doing... Are we doing unboxing for this tonight too?
Sure. I think we should take a break and then come back and we'll unbox a couple of these.
Yeah, or we could just end the stream and come back. Whichever one you prefer. I think we should take like a 15-minute break.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so we'll be back and we will be looking at what's inside this box right here. And also Fall of the Mountain King.
Okay. See you guys.